you're starting up a fashion business. Why fashion business, and how can people who are interested in fashion and, you know, having it as a business, how can they go into something like this?
Okay, basically for me, it's been a long journey, and I think I would say I started a very, very long time ago. My dad used to be one of the best fashion designers I'd ever known. And right from when I was a kid, I actually used to watch him put pieces together and come up with beautiful dresses. But definitely I had to go on with school, education, university, and all of that had to come in. So I was able to pick up the craft. But sometime afterwards, I think during my National Youth Service precisely, like we have it here in Nigeria, I actually went into, I saw someone who could produce footwears and bags out of African fabric, and I was so interested in it. I know that right from when I was growing up, I'd always had a passion for transforming raw materials into finished products. So this one in particular was wowing for me. So I just quickly put in myself, I registered myself to be trained on that skill, and that was it. So that was how I started putting up, making footwears, bags, accessories, and a whole lot of souvenir items out of African prints, which are so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, like me. But I think I wasn't just satisfied with that. I felt like I needed to push it a little further. Then came fashion designing. I had the passion for making dresses. And I had an issue in particular. Let me share this. I think I actually had some fabrics that I purchased from the market, and I took them to what we call tailors here, dressmakers. And after giving every single thing to this woman, you wouldn't believe that I didn't get one dress back. She ruined every single thing. Like not even one was wearable. And since then, I just felt so disappointed. And I was like, who could actually make my dresses and all that? So I just felt, why not try to do this yourself? Why don't you just try and see if you can actually acquire the skill? And yes, I did. And here I am today. So that's
Amazing.
basically for me.
Uh-huh.
If I want to talk about someone who's willing to go into the fashion business, it's quite an interesting industry.
Uh-huh.
It's quite an interesting industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it employs millions of people. So it's quite an interesting industry. First of all, I'm going to ask you to get educated. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a formal education. There are a lot of ways you could learn right now. You could learn through YouTube. You could actually register in a fashion school. You could still go to the university and acquire a degree on fashion designing. But first of all, get educated because you don't want to go into something and get stuck along the way. So once you discover you're passionate about this industry, I think you should go for getting an education. Now, secondly, after you've gotten an education, you need to create your portfolio. Okay, that's very, very important. As a fashion designer, you're not just collecting fabrics from people and making their dresses according to their style, but you're creating something. It's a creative industry. So you have to create your own portfolio. Your portfolio showcases your personality. Your portfolio showcases your creativity. Your portfolio showcases all that you have inside. It's an opportunity to express yourself, just the same way we see arts. Art is an opportunity to express yourself. That's what dressmaking is. That's what fashion designing is. It's an opportunity for you to fit yourself into appropriate outfits, and you know that they're not just workable for you alone, but every other person who sees it loves it. Yes, so it's very important to create a portfolio. Now, thirdly, you need to market. Okay, that's that's a very key aspect of fashion designing. You know, the business basically. Some people mistake social media presence for marketing. No, that doesn't work. You need to, because if you, let me even just take for instance Instagram. You have like thousands of fashion designers. And when I'm talking about fashion designers, I'm not just talking about people who make dresses, but creative fashion designers. Okay,
Mhm.
so you need to bring in your best stuff to the market. You need to let people know why they should buy yours rather than buy the other.
Mhm.
So these are things that you actually need to do if you want to go into the fashion business. Then it's work. Trust me, it's a lot of work. I can remember sometimes when I'm trying to make a piece of a new design, a new outfit, and we could actually cut the dress. I'm like, no, we have to recut it and we do it all over again, just to ensure that we get something perfect, something very good that is marketable and that at first sight you fall in love with.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of work. And if you want to go into the fashion designing industry, you need to be ready to do some work. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, and that is really powerful because, like someone I read somewhere, and they said there is no idea that is new. Every new idea is actually a product of an already existing idea. So if you're even making something that feels new, and you want to maybe take, for instance, like Facebook, for instance, there has always been messaging and emailing and the use of internet. He just thought about building a platform from what people already were doing. So, and you made a very, very amazing point there. And apart from all of the other point, I think the major thing that stood out for me is the marketing part. You need to create a niche for yourself and be able to work through all the crowd and the noise and get people to actually notice you and your product. That is amazing. And quickly, I think there is a lot of resources online that actually talk about what you can do to run a successful fashion designing platform. So and this is, they tell you what successful fashion designers do, right? Maybe we can flip it a bit and look at what successful fashion designers don't do. So if you can quickly run through all of this and just advise us a little bit on what successful fashion designers don't do, so that everybody has an idea of where they're making the mistake and what they need to flip.
Okay, so looking at what successful fashion designers do not do, I think that's very key.
Mhm.
Number one, they do not think that they know it all. Okay?
Hmm.
They do not think that they know it all. Like you rightly said, in the fashion industry, it's also applicable. A
Mhm.
lot of things are being recycled. There's really no new idea. It's just the ability to modify,
Right.
innovate,
Mm-hmm.
create something out of what is already existing. So a good fashion designer, a successful fashion designer doesn't think that they know everything. The
Mm-hmm.
skills are transforming daily. So in
Right.
as much as you know what you know, you still need to go out to know what other people know. Okay? So you need to go out to know what others know. Do not ever think that you know it all. Now, secondly, they do not dwell on constant comparison.
Mm.
Like I mentioned earlier, there are 1,001 fashion designers out there. If you take for instance, you go on Instagram, you could be on Instagram the whole day seeing various styles. In fact, it's going to be so mind blowing. And if you have to compare with what you had, you just might end up being frustrated. You might think you're
True.
not even good enough. Okay,
Very true.
so do not even put yourself in that position where you have to compare.
Very
You don't
true.
at all. It's completely not necessary. Now, number three, successful fashion designers do not spend all their time in the studio.
Mm.
Very key. In as much as there's a lot of work to do, you have to create patterns, you have to sew, you have to handle your social media updatings and all of that. Successful fashion designers do not forget to go out there. They put themselves out there because that's how you get to meet people. Your community matters. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to help you in marketing. If you stay in your office the whole day in your studio and just keep creating designs and doing all of that, and there's nobody to market to, I don't think you're into the fashion business. I think you just like designing.
Mm.
Yeah. successful fashion designers, I mean, they go all out. They go
Mm-hmm.
all out to meet people. They go all out to network at the same time. So I think another thing that they do, or that they don't do rather, is to substitute social media for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned, you do not substitute social media, your social media presence for marketing. Behind the scene, there's a lot of marketing that has to go on. You could see someone on social media. Say, for instance, I like to use Instagram because that's more like the major place where you find a lot of designers. And you will see like 30,000 followers, 40,000 followers, 100 and something thousand followers. By the end of the day, you just see like maybe 10 people making orders or 5 people making orders. Trust me, that's not all the marketing they do. They do
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot of marketing behind the scenes. So do not sit in front of your social media platform and say, oh, this is where I market all day. You have to go all out to market. Okay, so another thing that they do, or rather that they don't do, is that they do not focus on one stream of revenue. Okay, you as a fashion designer, don't just sit back and say, I want to sell directly to my customers only. That could be one stream. But at the same time, there are other options. You could actually do wholesale. You
Mm-hmm.
could go up for top. You could just, there's so many other streams of making money, create gift vouchers and all that. It's still surrounding around bringing in the revenue because that's the essence of the business. Any business where you don't make profit isn't business at all. So you need to focus on other streams of revenue. Then something I must not fail to mention here is that successful fashion designers, they actually support each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they support each other. Sometimes you feel like you're in a competition. You feel like you're in a competition with others,
Mm-hmm.
but the key here is not about being a competition. The key here is about standing out in your own lane, running your race, filling your space, and just becoming successful at what you do. Okay? Don't for any reason just sit back and say, oh no, this person is doing better than me, so and support it. Support. It's not gonna hurt to like a picture, it's not gonna hurt to get a good comment on the picture you see that's actually nice. So the support actually goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are some of the things that successful designers do not do. Okay, they do not do some of these things, and
Yeah.
I think it helps them.
Yeah, that's really perfect. Amazing, amazing. Maybe just to quickly round up the session, I know COVID-19 affected a lot of industries and none was exempted. So I looked at the statistics for Primark, and they're not a fashion designing store, but they sell clothes. They're a clothing store. So one way, somehow it is also linked to the fashion designing because they have people who produce their items and then they sell it. So they were not prepared for the pandemic and they did not have an online store. And so I learned that they lost millions of dollars in the 3 months that the pandemic stretched for. So apart from that, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on the fashion business and what people can do to adjust to the new normal and what people can do to maximize the new situation, because obviously because of the gap created there is opportunities. So how can people see and then maximize all of these opportunities in the fashion industry?
I would just like to mention a lot of effects. We had a lot of effects. The fashion designing industry was not exempted at all.
Mm-hmm.
We had unemployment. Millions of people were put out of their jobs as a result of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And the fashion industry employs millions of people, a lot of people, and so many were actually put out of their jobs during this period. Another thing that I think was really affected as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic was the source of raw materials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, most countries have actually depended on China for the importation of raw materials, most especially fabric. And
Mm-hmm.
this had a very bad toll on a lot of us. Like, I think I suffered a bit of that. Yes, I suffered a bit of that because we ran out of raw materials at a point. And right now, restocking is also an issue because most of the borders have been closed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is actually another effect of the pandemic. Then we also had the issue of sales. People began to see the fashion industry as a secondary need. Okay, more secondary than primary. They
Mm-hmm.
started seeing the need to use the money to invest in foodstuff and all that instead of clothing. So these are some of the effects that the industry suffered as a result
Mm-hmm.
of the pandemic. Now, going forward, if I must say, sorry, going forward, if I must say,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many things that we need to do or put in place just
Mm-hmm.
to go forward. Now, one of the things that we need to look at is the fact that most of the luxurious dresses are not really going to sell at this particular period of time. Statistics is saying that we'll be having to recover, recovery period from now might just be a year plus,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a very long period of time. Okay, so you need to actually think of creating more functional outfits than the luxury outfits. I know a lot of fashion designers that had to suspend their production of clothing wears to produce medical PPEs, had to produce face masks, they just had to redirect their business just to survive this period of time. So that's something that's very key. We need to rethink our designs. Very, very important. Now, secondly, we also need to consider becoming more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these outfits or some of the dresses that are being sold are actually quite very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine some people don't even have sufficient money to purchase food stuff for their housing. So think more of purchasing luxurious and very expensive dresses. So we also need to rethink the affordability of dresses. Okay, that's very important. Then something we also mentioned, which I think is a key way forward, is moving our physical businesses online. Yes, very, very important. We need to focus more on building our businesses online, invest in building your business online. It's almost like every other business, but fashion industry is key. We need to put in more efforts into opening online shops,
Mm-hmm.
social media platforms, and all that just to reach more people, to
Mm-hmm.
reach more people. Moving our businesses digital is actually very key in moving forward with the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, amazing, totally wonderful recommendations. And I hope that everyone who was on the video actually got all of the points. And if you have further questions, we're a little bit out of time. So if you have questions, you can send them to us on the DM and we will get Isioma to respond and then we will share it with you. Thank you so much, Isioma, for joining us today. All of this is like a lot of wisdom for everyone who's looking to maybe go into the fashion business, and it gives an overview of where they can start, how they can build, and what they can do to adjust their business to the current time. And I believe it's a great subject for anybody who's actually launching out at this point in time, because information is one of the best things you can have to guide you and then to help you set up what you need to set up. So you guys can check out Brielle Walter